Hello, old school movie reviews. Welcome to the apocalypse. The movie I have today is Three the Hard Way from 1974, directed by Gordon Parks Jr. and starring Jim Brown, Fred Williamson, and Jim Kelly. These actors, along with Pam Grier, were probably the most popular so-called black exploitation stars at the time. And this movie, I guess, was kind of conceived as, like a big crossover, star vehicle for all three of them at the same time. Let's see here. Now, when I first saw Gordon Parks' name on here, I was a little bit, I guess I got kind of confused because I thought this was the same Gordon Parks who directed Shaft. This is actually his son who also directed Superfly. So Gordon Parks Sr. did The Learning Tree, which I didn't see that movie, but I did see I did read the novel that it was based on back in high school. But he directed Shaft, and then Gordon Parks Jr. directed this movie and Superfly and a couple other movies as well. But anyway, the plot of this film is Jim Brown's old friend he escapes from some sort of compound or labor camp or something like that where, the bad guys are doing experiments on people. And, he gets away and he gets to Jim, and he's trying to tell him what's happening. Basically what's going on is the bad guys are this white supremacist group whose plan is they are going to dump poison in the water supplies of, major cities around the country. And they're going to start with LA, Detroit, and Washington, D.C. And the gag is the poison will kill black people, but it won't affect white people. Of course, the obvious question to ask is, well, what will it do to somebody who's either Asian or Hispanic? That question's never, answered. But anyway, that's what happened. The bad guys catch up with Jim's friend and shoot him, and then they capture and kidnap Jim's girlfriend. So Jim decides he needs some help to go after these guys. So he goes and gets Fred Williamson. Fred Williamson says, well, you know what, maybe we need one more guy, and they go and get Jim Kelly. And so, of course, the premise is they have to stop the bad guys from dumping the poison and have to save the girl. That's a pretty standard, action movie plot. I had fun watching this movie. This movie is really good. I mean, I don't mean in a sort of campy retro, it's so bad that it's good way. I mean, it's a good movie. I liked it. I had fun with it. If you like action movies or entertained by anything like, Rambo or Rambo Part 2 or The Last Boy Scout or, any of those things are all about, couple of guys kicking the crap out of some bad guys and blowing crap up, I think you'll like this film. It has some really cool chase scenes, I should say car chase scenes, fabulous hand-to-hand combat scenes with Jim Kelly in it, and some cool, gunfight scenes as well. Let's see here, it's shot really well. The editing's decent. The story structure, I mean, the script isn't the greatest, but the story structure as far as the narrative goes, as far as building tension and just being able to see things that are happening, that are going on, it's great, you know what I mean? A lot of, let's see here, a lot of modern movies will have the action scene and it'll have this really super quick cutting thing going on, where you sometimes can't tell what's going on. I mean, you know what's going on, but you can't see it really clearly. But, this is that old school style where, two guys are having a karate fight. You see these guys doing karate, There's a shootout. You see somebody diving behind a table or whatever, loading up their gun and, firing off a round and stuff. You know what's happening at at every turn, you know what I mean? There are a few kind of campy type things going on in here. Like I said, with the car chases and stuff, this has the old thing you used to see in movies back in the day where cars would crash and just like blow up, A car would flip over and it would explode. Or somebody would like shoot at the guys in the car and the car would like catch fire and explode, you know what I mean? That happens. Another campy thing is there's one part where the guys capture, one of the henchmen. They want to question him, and they don't think they can get any information out of him. So Fred Williamson's character calls some old friends in, to question him, right, to intimidate them or whatever. And, these mysterious people in these motorcycle suits, with their leather and their helmets come in. And it's like, oh, the mysterious people are coming in, all right. Then they take off their helmets, and it turns out they're beautiful women. Okay. So anyway, they're going to go torture this guy, right? They've got their bag full of, God knows what that they're going to do to him with. But the thing is, before they get started, for some reason, they have to take their shirts off. So it's implied that they're torturing these guys while being topless. Why they need to be topless before they torture the guy, I don't know. Other than, it's the 70s and that's just what you did in the 70s movies if you were attractive. You had to take your shirt off. Having said that, hey, towards the end of the movie, the guys are all dressed in dark clothes because they're attacking the bad guys. They're sneaking onto their headquarters. Jim Kelly takes his shirt off for no good reason. Why? Just because Jim Kelly looks good with his shirt off. So I guess you could say that's one for equality. What else? One thing I think is pretty interesting is this movie came out at a time where a lot of so-called black exploitation movies were being criticized because, you had stuff like Superfly, The Mac, and, some other movies where people were like, man, does everything have to be this kind of ghetto stereotype? Why are you glorifying people that in real life are kind of, breaking a law and whatnot, Can't we have, action heroes who are more, positive role models? And I think this looks like it was a very concerted, purposeful attempt to do that. Jim Brown's character, Fred Williamson's character, Jim Kelly's character, they're all very successful businessmen. They're all dressed impeccably, really sharp. They always look very handsome and whatnot. Jim Brown's character is like a record producer. Fred Williamson's character is some sort of businessman or entrepreneur. I'm not sure it's really made clear exactly how he, made his money, whatever. But he's somebody who's got a high-rise office somewhere in downtown Chicago. Jim Kelly is successful because he has like a chain of karate schools across the country. So like I said, you don't see any of those characters, in this particular movie, hanging out on a corner or being surrounded by drug users or prostitutes or anything like that, which was kind of, becoming the stereotype in some of these movies. Now, I would say, saying that, just getting to weird, campy stuff, Jim Kelly's character, okay, he runs a karate school, so of course he knows how to fight. Fred Williamson's character, there's some reference to him having to work his way up from the south side, maybe he was down there in the streets or whatever. So it's not that shocking that he had a gun in his office or whatever. But Jim Brown's character is an LA record producer. Where did he learn to be such a kick-ass dude and know all this stuff about like military weapons and bazookas and hand grenades and stuff like that? I thought that was a kind of funny thing. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of that, his character's, Jim Brown's character is a record producer, and the group that he's producing is a group called The Impressions. The Impressions were a kind of popular R&B group at the time, and they did the soundtrack to this particular movie. And like I said, they make a cameo, so that's kind of interesting. Let's see here. A couple of other interesting appearances are by a couple of character actors. I recognize them because I remember seeing these guys on like tons of things on TV and the movies back when I was growing up. First guy is Alex Rocco, who has a bit part as Lieutenant Denisco, and then Jay Robinson, who plays the head bad guy, whose name is Monroe Feather. And, Rocco was always playing in like every other television show, either some kind of cop or some sort of mafia guy or working class guy at the bar or, something, always some sort of like regular, working class, lower middle class type guy. And I remember Jay Robinson kind of being either playing like, either a bad guy or a rich guy or pompous rich guy or maybe Weasley guy or whatever, But both of these guys do really excellent with their roles. Let's see here. I did mention Jay Robinson is head of this kind of white supremacist group. I thought it was kind of interesting that at one point they do show some of the henchmen or whatever dressed in these kind of pseudo-Nazi garb, but the thing is, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily them trying to be politically correct or not. Actually, I don't really think so, though. I think they were just trying to come up with something different. But the guys have like armbands on, and they do have like a big flag of their organization. But instead of being like Nazi swastikas, they're kind of like stylized SS emblems. So, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of interesting in a way. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I think I covered everything I wanted to say. Like I said, though, this is a good movie. It's a fun movie. Yeah, there's weird inconsistencies and, little plot missteps and things like that. But it is, I think, a quality movie. I would suggest anybody that's either interested in this era or this genre of films, or even, like I said, if you just like to see movies where good guys or a couple of good guys go out and kick the crap out of bad guys, give it a shot. Give it a shot, I should say. Okay, I guess that's it. I got to thank you very much for listening. Tell me what you think, and you have a good one.